Welcome to Bed Crime Stories Podcast. I'm your host, T. And if true crime is your jam, and like me, you enjoy delving into unsolved cases, trying to figure out who done it, please consider subscribing. Good day, my true crime friends, wherever you are. I was asked to share a portrait of Somerwell's maternal grandfather, Kenneth James Bly, or Jim Bly as he was better known. Jim Bly is also the father of Candus Bly and her two sisters, Jeannie and Rose Marie. I believe our interest in all things Bly comes from our desire to try and understand both Candus and her missing younger sister, Rose Marie. We want to know more about the first man they likely ever loved, the guy who maybe tucked them into bed at night after their mother, Candy Harr, left the family to go off with a female friend named Valletta or Val. So I did a little digging and asked a few questions, and this portrait is the result of all of that. Kenneth James Bly was born on December 6th, 1935, in Springfield, Massachusetts. He later made his way to Connecticut. As a young man, he served in the U.S. Army. And if he was in combat, I would say it was most likely in Korea. I didn't find that anywhere, I'm just guessing. After meeting Candy Harr while they were both working for a carnival and later marrying her in Texas, Bly moved with his bride and their baby daughter, Candus, to her hometown of Grantsburg, Wisconsin. It's in northwestern Wisconsin, near the St. Croix River and the border with Minnesota. They wanted to be near the Mayo Clinic because of baby Candus's heart issues. Candus was born with a hole in her heart. It's in the rural village of Grantsburg in Burnett County, which in 2010 had a population of 1,341 people, that Jim and Candy raised their three daughters, Candus, Jeannie, and the baby, Rose Marie. It's said that Jim Bly's heart was forever broken when Rosie disappeared in 2009 at the age of 21. Jim loved to fish. Perhaps Candus's love of fishing came from her father. We know that Candus passed that passion down to her children, including 5-year-old Summer. Jim's obituary says that he loved playing pool, being with family, and telling jokes. In fact, he was known for his quick wit and great sense of humor. Bly was also said to be an extremely kind man with many longtime friends. Now, I'm also from Wisconsin, and as I read about Jim Bly, his interests, and where he lived, it was easy for me to picture the places he would have frequented, the things he would likely have done in an area brimming with rivers and with such close proximity to Lake Michigan. I've been to many small towns in Wisconsin, just like Grantsburg, where people head to the local VA post on a Friday night for a fish fry, a beer, perhaps a little pool playing or some bowling, and where people sport their Green Bay Packer gear pretty much everywhere they go. The pastor at his Lutheran church in Grantsburg, who oversaw his funeral service, said that Jim would often bring him small gifts, such as pens printed with his name on them, or button pins with famous sayings on them. The pastor noted that he often joked with Jim Bly, calling him Captain Bly, and Jim in return loved to share jokes with him. The pastor even pointed out where Jim Bly sat in the church and mentioned a yellow jacket that he apparently always wore. When he passed away at the age of 85 on May 5th of 2021, Jim Bly left behind 5 children: Kathleen, Kenneth, Candus, Jeannie, and Rosie, as well as a sister named Geraldine and several grandchildren whom he was said to adore. Note that Jim Bly died just a little over a month before Summerwells disappeared. Candus Bly did not attend her father's funeral. Now, I don't believe that Jim Bly passing away a month before Summer's disappearance has any connection or any relevance to the case. I watched a 50-minute video of Jim Bly's funeral service online, which I will admit did feel a little weird and wrong, but it was there, so I thought I might as well watch it and see what people had to say about him. The funeral service was held at the New Hope Lutheran Church in Grantsburg. Many Army vets turned up and gave Mr. Bly a final salute. A family friend, who I believe is the wife of one of Jim Bly's friends, took to the podium to talk about Jim. She said that she'd known him since his kids were knee-high to a grasshopper, and she relayed that he would often come over to her and her husband's house for coffee. This lady also stated that this was when Jim was married to Candus, meaning married to Candy Harr. This same lady said Jim would often bring his kids over to her house and that they'd throw snowballs at Walt. Now, I'm not sure who Walt is. I'm hoping it wasn't the family dog. The woman described how she and her husband would then have barbecues with Jim and his family. According to this lady, Jim loved to sing, but he was afraid that he wasn't good enough at it. She went on to say that over the years, she'd seen him laugh and she'd also seen him cry. Jim's son-in-law, who is married to his daughter Jeannie, then got up to talk. The son-in-law stated that Jim never had a problem with anybody and he always let things roll off his back. He also said that even when times were down, Jim Bly would still smile and try to laugh. The son-in-law also stated curiously that there are a lot of people in this world who will say what they will about Jim, but that Jim never did him any wrong, and that without him, he wouldn't have his wife and 3 children. So those would be Jeannie Bly's 3 children. The son-in-law emphasized that Jim made him a better person, and at the end of his speech, the son-in-law promised his deceased father-in-law that he would forever take care of his daughter Jeannie. It's sad to me that Jeannie Bly didn't have her sisters, Candus and Rosemary, by her side at their father's funeral to give her emotional support and hugs. Rose, because she vanished in 2009, and Candus for reasons only Candus knows. Sounds like of Jim Bly's 3 daughters with Candy Harr, Jeannie is the one who, by default, but also because of love, had to go solo through the painful journey of watching her father decline in health. She does appear to have a loving husband and those 3 kids, so hopefully they're able to surround her with the emotional support she needs. I also contacted Rosemary's best friend from high school to see if she had any recollections about Jim Bly. This is what she wrote. Rose was raised by her dad. He was a sweet, shy old man who you could tell loved Rose like there was no end. To her dad, Rose was perfect. From all that I've read, heard, and seen, it appears that Jim Bly did the best he could with what he had for his kids, and that he was a salt-of-the-earth kind of guy. Now, if you enjoyed this video and got something out of it, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're not yet a member, and share and leave me a comment. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories.